In the game of loans, you either win or you learn. Welcome to the game of loans, where fortunes are forged and empires are built. Your hosts, lords of lending and wholesaling, are here to guide you through the realm of real estate and wealth building. Brace yourselves, cash flow is coming. Hello, welcome to episode number 8 of the Game of Loans. With me today is a dear friend of mine, a business associate, one of my heroes in the private money business, Jacalyn Shirley. Welcome.
Hi.
To episode 8 of Game of Loans.
Thanks.
So the reason that I wanted to have Jacalyn on, multiple reasons. We have a project going on right now where we are putting together a course for private money. And obviously the first person that came to mind was Jacalyn, besides Ross, my business partner. But her journey is very similar to mine, where I'm going to let her speak. But basically she started in the normal, conventional, let's say, business, right? And then, she journeyed into becoming a powerhouse within the private money business. And okay, so Jacalyn, couple of questions. When did you first start in the mortgage business?
I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
17.
And started as a junior processor.
Okay.
So this was back when we were doing subprime Alt-A loans. So a lot of NEGAM loans. And
I remember those NEGAM loans.
Yep.
Who did we used to sell those loans to again? Who was
we did Countrywide, Wachovia, Chevy Chase. Yep.
Holy shit.
Encore.
No, but there was one company.
First Franklin.
But what was that one company that was like solely NEGAM? Do you remember? Was it Wachovia? I don't remember. Or was it Chevy Chase?
Well, we did IndyMac was another one. Trying to think of who was only NEGAM. I mean, we pretty much only did NEGAM loans, but only did, right? Yeah.
So you started at 17,
yeah,
in what was back then called non-conforming,
right?
Mm-hmm. And then it turned into subprime,
right?
That's what they were calling it, subprime.
Alt-A,
subprime, right? It was basically, unfortunately, anyone that had a pulse, we were putting into a fucking mortgage.
That's how I got in.
That's
honestly,
how you got in, right?
Yeah, fully unqualified.
You have a pulse. Yeah, I'm gonna get you a fucking.
Come
loan.
Work for me. Yeah. Right time, right place.
Yeah, right time, right place. So how many year run did you have in that?
Gosh. Okay, so let's think. That was probably 5-6 years.
5-6 years.
Yeah.
So you were in it the entire time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I was there. Made good money. We did good.
Money. Hands over fist. Right.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Good times.
Those were crazy times.
Yeah.
I remember, I would tell people, let's say I needed $250,000.
Yeah.
This is fucking crazy, right? I'd say something would come up. I needed $250,000. I would just be like, I just got to work a little bit harder and make the $250,000.
Yeah.
It was that fucking crazy easy.
Yeah. Totally. So I was like the support staff to the people that were making that kind of money.
And you were still making a lot of money.
I still made a lot of money, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad because I got my feet wet. It got me in. It made the connections that I needed to get onto the next point of my career. So, all good. Right. Okay. But yeah,
so junior processor.
Right.
That's how you got it. And then what was the evolution?
Yeah. So
within that 5-6 years.
Yeah, so junior processor started, knew absolutely nothing, made all kinds of ridiculous mistakes, but there was so much room for error. It didn't matter at all. Yeah. Moved up to processor and then into underwriting, and then stayed in underwriting from there until that market pretty much imploded on itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So then that happened, and then everybody knows, everybody watched The Big Fucking Short, which drives me crazy and gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
So what happened when all of our world fell apart?
So for my career, I switched into loss mitigation. So since I had been underwriting, loss mit was basically the same thing. You were underwriting for the inverse result, right? Okay. So you're doing, I worked for a bank at that time, and you were receiving submission packages and you're underwriting them, and you're looking to prove that a person cannot afford their home instead of prove that they could. Right. So I started doing that, doing underwriting loan modifications and short sales.
Do you want to explain like what a loan modification would be? Because a lot
Sure.
of people don't
Yeah.
know.
So at that time, right, all these people that had gotten into these subprime loans, now they can't afford them.
Mhm.
And so, and this HAMP hadn't quite yet come out, which was the government plan, which was a
Mhm.
government mod plan. So banks were coming up with their own programs to offer people who were in distress some kind of change of terms to the loan that they had
Mhm.
instead of foreclosure.
Okay.
So they could contact them and say, hey, I'm 90 days behind. I don't want to lose my house. The bank is going to do what's called an NPV test, which is net present value. They're going to say the house is worth 200,000. This loan is
Right.
400,000. There's no value here for us to
Right.
foreclose on this house.
Right.
We're going to strike a deal. So
Okay.
we'll cut the interest rate. We'll give you a 2% interest rate. We'll take whatever the default interest is. We'll roll it onto the back of the loan. You're not going to pay anything on it now. We'll give you a new, basically, loan agreement and call it good. You'll
Right.
start making your payments again. And we've now modified the terms of your loan. So that started out being from the actual investors that owned the notes coming out with their own terms. And then eventually the government came out with a plan and rolled it down when they bailed out Fannie and Freddie.
Right.
Yeah. So
But the government's plan was all full doc, right?
pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had a trial period
Right.
of payments
Right.
that was supposed to only be 3 months.
Right. And then
But
it
ended
became
up
forever.
just being forever and ever and ever and
Right.
ever and ever
Right.
and
Those
never turned
fucking
into final
bureaucrats.
terms. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
before we move forward,
yeah.
you remember like back when we were doing subprime loans, right? There was no TRID.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
So we were able to close deals like in 72 hours.
Oh, yeah. No,
You remember?
absolutely. You filled out a submission
Yep.
sheet and you transboxed the
Yep.
file and you
Mhm.
funded it the next
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Now, what people don't understand is Dodd and Frank, who created all these rules and laws, it's just like any other government agency, right? They knew nothing about the mortgage business. And they thought that by implementing TRID and all that shit that went along with it, it would help. You know, what is your opinion on that? With the fucking, having to the disclosure bullshit
Mm-hmm.
and all of that stuff. Do you think it really helped
No,
the industry?
I really don't.
Right?
I really
I
don't.
don't either.
No, because people still don't read them. Like if we're
Right.
being real,
Right.
right? So putting in these waiting periods is not going to encourage people anymore to go into the fine print. It's still ultimately like the truth in lending is still the truth in lending. They were already receiving this
Right.
information.
And it was easier, no?
Correct.
Don't you think that the GFE and Until, they were so much easier?
Yeah, now you've got 4 pages where you used to have 1.
Right.
So, in my opinion, now you just have people, they're still going through going sign, 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 sign with the notary or DocuSign in
Right.
initial disclosure package. They're not looking at it any more than they were initially, but now we're waiting. Now we have compliance
Right.
issues. Maybe we have to redisclose.
Right.
Now we
For
have
no reason.
Right. Yeah. So now it just takes longer.
Right.
So,
For the same shit.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it solved what they were intending to
it
solve
didn't
for.
solve anything.
Yeah.
They were intending to solve borrowers not being qualified, right? From being able to get a mortgage, right?
Right.
And they didn't realize that that had nothing to do with the whole disclosure problem.
Right. Well, and also I think they were hoping that borrowers should be fully informed about their loan because people that got the NAGAM were like, I had no idea that I was paying negative interest.
Right.
And it's like, well, you did receive these disclosures, or did you not? It's okay. So now you're giving them these disclosures and making them wait longer. So what, they're sitting with them on their kitchen table and you think they're going to read them
No,
now?
they won't.
No.
They won't.
They're not any more incentivized.
No.
They're not any more educated.
The same people who actually read the fucking disclosures, the Till, right, and the GFE and looked at it, are the same fucking people that were going to look at this. And
Right.
the same people that would never look at the fucking simple shit are definitely not going to look at the more
4-page
complicated
disclosure.
shit.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's like instead of simplifying the situation, they just came in and made it so complicated.
Right.
And the reason I'm asking you this is because that's one of the reasons that forced me out.
Same. Yeah,
Right?
exactly the same.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
100%.
we're on the same page.
Yep.
That whole complication of TRID laws and Dodd-Frank or whatever the fuck it is that they decide to do, just completely fucked the whole thing up.
Yeah. Well, and more than just mortgage. I mean, that it moved into title and escrow, so it changed industry wide
Yep.
beyond just mortgage lending,
Yep.
everybody.
For the worse.
Correct. Yeah. 100%.
It's what the government does. They step in and they just fucking shit on it.
Right.
It's like, it's amazing to me that the whole entire fucking thing fell apart, right? But they never got one of us, like, not, like a mortgage professional to sit down and ask us to say, hey, man or woman, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Jacalyn, why do you think this happened? And you would have been like, this happened because X, Y, blah, 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 and Z. Right? And then, well, Jacalyn, could you tell me as a mortgage professional, how would you have fixed it? And you were like, bang, 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 bang. And with nothing to do with the disclosures or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's that.
Yep.
And what pissed me off also the most was I saw so many people, low-level people, get into trouble, like bad trouble, where I was involved on the top tier, and I saw all of these fucking traders that perpetrated the whole thing. Not one of them got even a fucking slap on the hand.
Yeah.
Not one. Not one motherfucker.
I know.
Not one.
Yep.
And, so, okay, the brokers made a couple of $100,000 or whatever, which is great. How much does those fucking traders make? Millions on millions on millions,
that's a good
right?
point. Yeah.
And not one fucking person goes to prison.
Yeah, had like a loan originator got federally indicted. Yeah.
For loan originators, there was this one fucking guy, I don't know, it was like Texas or something. He got like 100 years in prison. Like, it was crazy.
There was
it was
a guy
a fucking
in San
broker.
Diego too. Yeah, same.
Which, child molesters are getting 3 years. A fucking loan officer is getting 100 years in prison.
Yeah.
For what? Like, I'm not, again, I'm not, I think we all took a part in what happened, right?
It was a gravy train.
It was a gravy train. But to say that it was all our fault and the borrowers had nothing to do with it and that we were the fucking predators, I completely disagree. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I think it's fuck you. It's take accountability for what the fuck you did.
Yeah.
You as a fucking borrower were in on the whole fucking situation.
Yeah. Everybody was benefiting at the time.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody. I remember in we were dealing with the guys like in Miami, right? The whole situation in Miami where they were just flipping contracts, and just making hundreds of thousands of fucking dollars on one fucking property, right? Like a flip from this guy from 100 to 200, 200 to 300, right? None of those guys, no one went to fucking prison.
Yeah.
No one got ostracized. No one got fucked. No one, and it just fell on our shoulders.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Like,
yeah. When you think about some of the homeowners that got the NAGAM loan, and ultimately were like, I didn't know what I signed. It's like their home values skyrocketed so much and they cashed out so much equity.
Yep.
They ended up with so much cash,
Yep.
and then they ended up not making a mortgage payment for several years after because a lot of those notes got lost, right? And then they went into loss mitigation and they did their forensic audit. They got attorneys, so they dragged that out for, God knows how long. And then they would go into no payment modifications because they would have payment shock, so they'd qualify for no payment mods. So in all actuality, their original NAGAM payment may have been at 1% or maybe a 1% step up or a 1.75 at most, right? And then they had no payment because they defaulted for maybe several years. And then they were in a no payment,
4 or 5 years,
right? And then they were in a no payment mod if they're going to keep the house because they failed the NPV test and the lender does not want to take that house.
Right.
So did they really, and they get to keep the house.
Yeah.
Did they really get fucked?
Nope.
Probably.
No.
Like they still have their home
No.
and they did.
I agree.
7 years of no payments or at most an interest rate under 2%.
I agree with you. Who did we fuck?
And they took hundreds of thousands of dollars out in cash.
Yep.
It doesn't sound so bad.
No, I agree with you. Do you know how much shit when I was younger? I got into the business way earlier than you did, right? But for years, it was like, why are you charging these fucking people 2 points, 2.5 points, right? Meanwhile, I charge these motherfuckers 2.5 points. Sold them a house in Brooklyn, right? When we were gentrifying it for $175,000. Do you know how much fucking that brownstone is worth now?
Yeah.
2 million, 2.5
Yeah.
fucking
You're
million.
welcome.
Right? You're welcome. You're fucking welcome. You're welcome. Do you know how many people I personally probably made millions?
Yeah.
Where is my fucking plaque? Where's my fucking thank you? No, really, I want to go back. I want to go back to Brooklyn, fucking Bedford-Stuyvesant or Bushwick to say, I helped you motherfuckers.
I did this.
I was part of this. But no, there's no glory. They still look at us like, when we're coming to the fucking non-QM. Every time I talk about non-QM on social media, right? I get, oh, you're a fucking pariah. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. You're starting this shit again. I'm like, starting this shit again? How about you go back to all those motherfuckers, like you're saying, that I fucking gave loans to that are sitting on fucking millions because of me.
$1.5 million in equity. Yeah. Right.
Especially in California.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. We hit Northern California.
Oh,
and
forgot it.
Right. Yeah. So we had San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose.
Yeah.
Right? And you think about what those houses are now.
Sick.
Insanity.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity. Right?
Yeah.
But we're the pariahs.
Yeah.
And we're the fucking pieces of shit. We're the bad people that gave these people horrible fucking loans. Mm-hmm. Right? Meanwhile, I remember that we were doing so much business, and look, when you're doing a stated 580 fucking 100% financing loan, you got to expect that there's going to be defaults.
Yep.
Like, you can't be that dumb.
Yep.
So the fucking schmucks at Credit Suisse, right? They come and they're like, well, we're going to cut you guys off because your default ratio is too high. So now I'm in a full-blown panic, and my business partner is like, relax, I'm handling this. I'm like, dude, we're fucked. We have this many loans on the line. It was about $120 million worth of loans on the line. I'm full-blown fucking dying on the inside. He's like, I got this handled. So the next morning, he goes, come to the office at 5:30 a.m. So I go there, I get there at 5:30, and he's already in the office with some dude I'd never even known. I walk in, and he's like, oh, meet, X, Y, and Z person from Deutsche Bank. I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Steve, blah, blah. He goes, yeah. He just agreed to buy the $120 million, and guess what? We made an extra 50 bips.
Nice.
On top of whatever we're already making. So, now, do you think these fucking clowns had any problems? Like, do you think anything happened to this guy? Knowing this fucking guy knew that Credit Suisse just cut us off.
Yeah.
He's coming in with a better bid of 50 basis points. Do the numbers. 50 basis points on 120 million. It's substantial.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of fucking money, right? Lo and behold, 6 months. And you know what? Credit Suisse comes back. Oh, we're sorry. We want to do even more business and give you better pricing. So this was it. I'm not placing the blame just on them. What I'm trying to do is, when this shit hit the fan, those guys got away scot-free. They got their bonuses. They made hundreds of millions. And then they moved on to something else, right?
Oh, totally.
Meanwhile, what happened to us?
Yeah.
We got completely fucking shadow banned.
Atomic bombed. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We were equivalent to fucking convicts and criminals. And it was just not fair. It wasn't fair, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
So the shit hits the fan.
Shit hits the fan.
So now you go, lost mit, all of that stuff, and then what happens?
So once I'd kind of mastered the loss mit game working for a bank, I started doing short sale negotiation on my own.
Oh,
So I opened a short sale negotiation company,
okay.
and then because it was so needed, that blew up, which
Mm.
was a great move. So I did that for a
Were
while.
you doing it nationally or
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yep, negotiating short sales nationally. So for any bank, any lender, all nationwide. And then saw the opportunity from there to have like an affiliated business with escrow. So
Mm.
I opened my own escrow company just in California. And then if it was a California short sale, use that affiliated escrow company for that short sale closing, knowing, short sales are not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So what's my next move?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So get the escrow company going,
Right.
see the short sales kind of go. And then owning the escrow company would be my thing that I would keep.
Okay.
Trid. Then Trid came. And I was like, fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
Right. I don't want this
Right. Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
So I had the escrow company, and that was doing really well, obviously, because I was feeding it a ton of business
Yeah.
from the short sale company. And then we got referrals because it would do, really well. People loved it, great relationships. And then they'd send other outside business. But I didn't want to be wrapped up in Trid. I
Okay.
didn't want to run an escrow company under Trid and have to get, brand new software and become Trid compliant and not make as much money, like have all our fees cut, not be able to have this relationships the same way. And so I decided to sell that company.
Okay.
So right literally probably 60 days before all the laws rolled out, I closed on the sale of that company and was like, good
See you
luck to
later.
you. Hey, good luck. Bye.
Is that company still around or?
Oh, it was driven into the ground in less than 6 months after the sale,
Is that
unfortunately.
crazy?
Yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears, but at least
Yeah.
it wasn't me that did
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then after that, I got back into what was then non-QM.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
The resurgence of whatever we were
Mhm.
doing, but in a
Exactly.
different way.
Yep. So, took over running operations at a lender in non-QM lending. And so a lot of the same products that we'd seen had come back around at that
Right.
time. They were just calling them something else.
Right. Masking
The
it.
new iteration
Yeah,
of
right.
subprime and
Yeah.
alt-A,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So you did that.
yeah, did that, but there
Dealt
was
with
still
Trid
Trid,
still,
right?
yeah,
So
which
now I have to do
sucked.
Trid.
Yeah.
So I have to do Trid. There's only one product really, which is DSCR.
Yeah.
That's not Trid bound,
Yeah.
right? It's business purpose, but
Mhm.
everything else is Trid. So I'm doing that. And it sucks, honestly, because your hands are bound. You can
Mhm.
only move so quickly. You can only be so creative. And when I say creative, I'm not meaning like fraudulent. I'm not meaning shady. I'm meaning literally like use your brain, think
Right,
versus running something through AUS or LP.
Right.
Right. Like, can you think and solve this problem versus have a computer tell you what to do?
Right.
And things were really moving that way, that those systems had run out and the industry was becoming more automated and away from a manual underwrite. And the non-QM programs did still have that, but people wanted to create an automated underwrite for non-QM. And it's like, where's the fun in that?
It still hasn't happened.
Yeah, I know.
They'll never be able to do it.
I agree. But if even I get it, that's the goal so that things can be more efficient, but then you're really not using your brain anymore.
I agree.
Then you're just kind of a cog in a wheel and everybody's a cog in a wheel. So I had the opportunity from there to move into private lending, which was going to be strictly business purpose, completely free of Trid. It was a huge move for me because obviously that's moving the product suite down. I had a really wide product suite to include all of the Trid,
right,
and then just having only business purpose. But
can you explain again to the audience like what business purpose would be?
Like, so business purpose would mean only investment properties, no owner occupied homes. And, a loan, we're saying on the loan documents that this loan is being made for business purposes. It's not being made for personal use, essentially. And so by making that disclosure and the borrower is signing to that, we are not bound by RESPA and TRID. So we don't have the disclosures. We don't have the wait times. We can do the manual underwrite. We can get creative if things are not fitting the box.
Right.
We can use our head instead of running things through a system.
Right. You're not just dealing with a circle and a fucking triangle.
Yeah.
You got some hexagons, you got some pentagons, you got some different shapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's what you mean by just being able to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, it's much, much, much more dynamic.
Right.
It really is.
Right.
Even though you may have less products at your availability, when you're like, okay, I have a bridge loan, I have a fix and flip loan, I have ground up construction, and I have DSCR. That would be your
Yeah.
basic suite of products and within the business purpose realm. But what you can do within those, like how flexible and how much you can move and how much you can think, and the ways that you need to be engaged and understand and can actually get excited about what you do for work versus when you have maybe 10 different products and it's like, okay, we do this, this, and this. Sorry, denied. Sorry,
Right.
declined. Sorry. It's like, okay, what's the point? It's not doing anything for me. So, yeah.
Obviously, I'm older than you, but I don't know if you remember that private money was also used, which is considered hard money,
Mm-hmm.
for normal people. Also, it wasn't just for real estate investors.
You
Do you
mean
remember?
like for owner occupied?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Where you had the bailouts, people that had problems and
Yep.
stuff like that, right?
Yep.
You remember?
I do.
And I think it's such a shame, right, that that's changed because, a lot of people are like, well, that was predatory lending. Well, predatory lending, do you know how many people that were sure to lose their homes,
Mm-hmm.
right, at least got a crack at trying to save their fucking home?
I personally know somebody that this obviously was before all those laws, and this was before you were required to have health insurance also, but he had had a major, major heart attack
Mm-hmm.
and went into the hospital and came out with, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical debt. And they ended up putting it against the house, leaned it against his house, or threatened that they were going to lean it against the house if he didn't pay it back. And
Yeah.
it was a hard money loan that was then leaned against the house that got him to pay off the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of medical debt. And there was no other, was a guy in retirement. There's no other way that he was going to get that money. He would have lost his house and probably been homeless.
Yep. But do you know how much of that has probably happened now? Because of fucking TRID?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to help people. Meanwhile, they don't know what the fuck they did.
Yeah.
They hurt so many people. I don't know if you get asked, like on a regular basis, especially on social media, I get asked by so many people, can you help me? I fell behind, this and that.
Oh,
and I tell them, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Or like an exiting primary.
Yeah.
That comes up all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
It's like, I got sick. I fell behind. No one wants to give me a mortgage. I'm at like a 45 fucking LTV.
Yeah.
And the answer is,
no.
Well, sorry, but why? And you try to explain to them, it's not me.
Yeah.
I would try and fucking help you.
Yeah.
But I really fucking can't.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. It sucks because a lot of people don't realize that. And it's like, why? Why did you fucking do that? Oh, predatory fucking lending. Well, predatory lending, how is it predatory where it's a high, right? It's a higher risk. So obviously you need some fucking reward because your losses are so much more. And people don't realize that. It's not that you're trying to screw someone to charge them, 11, 12%.
It's that half of them are going to default.
Half of them are going to default.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you've got to fucking,
you're not trying to drive yourself out of business.
Be like, oh, here you go. It's a 3% mortgage, although you're going to fucking probably default.
Right.
But what sucks is on the other half that aren't going to default, they just got fucked. They got completely shafted.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm with you. I totally agree. Yep.
So.
Well, it all comes back to this idea that like consumers can never be trusted to be informed, right? Is really what we have said with TRID and RESPA is that we don't trust people to make their own financial decisions, that they're not smart enough to do that. So, okay, well, then here's the consequences of that. The consequences of that are that now people who used to benefit from a hard money loan that could bail them out on a primary are losing their houses instead.
Yeah.
because we've said that just generally the population is not capable of making their own financial
Right.
decisions, which do have consequences sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make bad decisions and your bad decisions have consequences.
I agree with
That's
you.
life.
I agree.
That's life. That's not your mortgage broker's fault.
I agree.
That's not your banker's fault.
I agree.
Sometimes you personally make a bad decision and there's a consequence. So,
But also, I'll tell you what it is. The mortgage business is very fractionalized, right? So the products that the banks aren't involved in, regular banks, like private fucking lending, they'll shaft because they don't give a fuck, right?
yeah, because they don't offer them.
Because they don't offer them and
Right.
they don't give a fuck,
Right.
right? But for the rest of the fucking industry, because we this is what we do mortgage lending, we don't have a unified combined voice
Mm-hmm.
to be able to go out there and make demands. Like there is no you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. To actually affect change.
To affect real change,
Yeah.
good change, to go out there, there's no voice, there's no
Yeah.
lobbying. We don't have any lobbying fucking power.
No, you're
Meanwhile,
right.
the banks do.
Yeah.
And that's why you want fucking predatory lending? Credit cards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
30 fucking 40% fucking interest? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, well, fuck you. Well, what?
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Those are consumer
That's
loans.
okay.
Those are consumer loans.
Those
Yeah.
are consumer loans.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Right?
Yeah.
But they'll never get regulated. You want to know why?
Hmm.
Because people like fucking Chase, Jamie Dimon, who's probably the most powerful person in the world today, right?
Hmm.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
Through predatory lending. Through credit cards. Consumer lending, shove it right in your ass, all right? We're at the highest fucking credit card debt in the history of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see anyone complaining?
Talking about those rates? Yeah. No, you're right. You're totally right.
I want to know, on those trillions of dollars, what's the average rate on that? I guarantee it's somewhere
17, 18%.
I would even say higher.
Yeah.
Because God forbid now, let's say in your state, California, they've completely said, well, if it's a mortgage, you in default, you can't go over 10%. How come he didn't do it? How come he didn't do that with the fucking credit cards? You miss one payment, where's it go? It goes from 17% to like 50%, right? Like, how come, because they don't care. Because we're not unified enough. So now, if we had some lobbying power and we pressed, Gavin Newsom and said, hey, dude, you capped this at 10%. Why aren't you capping credit cards at 10%? What's the difference?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
You know?
You're spot on.
And the difference is the banks, they lobby the shit out of these, these politicians.
Yeah.
And they have the power and they have everything. And that's why we get shafted all the time. We get shafted right and left. We're like the unsung heroes of this economy. I really, truly believe that. If it wasn't for us, do you think that 3/4 of these motherfuckers that we lent money to could walk into a bank and get a fucking loan?
No.
They get laughed at.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, again, I've posted something and I explain to the people that follow me what we do, right? And I tell them, and then the rates are going to be somewhere in the 11. Oh, fuck you. You're charging the... Yeah, well, can you go to the fucking bank and get the type of money I'm giving you?
Mm-hmm. As quick as I can do it, too.
As quick as I could do it?
Yeah.
With the amount of risk?
Right.
Who else is going to give you this fucking money?
Right.
Right? Or the shit that they're doing right now with MCA, Merchant Cash Advance, right? Is it high risk or high payments? Yeah. But you want to know something? Do you know how many of these businesses these guys help? Where they're never going to be able to go to the bank and get a loan from the bank for a fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell everyone. Like, you're actually complaining? How could you be complaining? Where are you going to go? Your only other option is A, not grow, or B, go out of fucking business.
Yeah.
Because no one else is going to give you a fucking crack at doing anything.
Yeah. Well, it's the ones who get that money and then don't spend it wisely, or the business doesn't succeed anyways. And then they come back and say, I didn't know what I was signing.
Yeah.
I was confused.
I was confused.
I didn't have the right disclosure. Well, you got what you wanted then.
That's it.
Now you're over disclosed and you don't have access to the products that
exactly
you need.
the products that you need.
Are you
And
happy?
there's so many of those products.
Yeah.
So many that they need.
So,
Where
and I think at that time, when we saw the market crash, the hope was like all that crying was they were hoping that was going to result in getting some kind of modification or forbearance or something, right? I didn't know what I was doing.
Yep.
Okay, well, you've literally changed the trajectory of lending, essentially. You did a lot more than get yourself a loan mod or get yourself a forbearance. You've now removed access to things that you or your kids might need
Yep.
in the future.
Correct.
Rather than taking ownership for, I knew what I was doing, I did this, and now I'm in a bad position. Can I get a loan modification? And that's honestly just a simple humaning thing, just taking accountability, right?
I agree.
So,
But I'll tell you something. If they would have just let everything take its course and not did those mods and everything like that, I believe, would be in a way better place. Homes would be more affordable. Average home price in fucking California is $1 million.
Yeah. You think that's from that period of time, though?
I think so. Yeah. I think that if, like you just described, we let them off the hook, they got to stay in the house, they even got more money, everything like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if we would have just let the cycle go through, as hard as it would have been,
Yeah.
let them foreclose,
Let the house
teach them a
prices
fucking
plummet.
lesson.
Yeah.
Now home prices are going to go down.
Yeah.
I don't think them would be in this crisis where everything is so unaffordable.
Yeah, no, I see your point. Because I remember, like I mentioned, we had hit Northern California, and the biggest thing when coming back to the mods was that a lot of the areas were vacant, that the people were not trying to get mods, that they had abandoned those houses and they were winterizing the homes and, were trying not to have vacant homes because they didn't want squatters moving into them and then the whole areas to be taken over, right? And now it's going to change the landscape of a entire neighborhood, right? Because you have squatters moving into vacant homes. But also, to your point, is that a bank's responsibility? But they're thinking, if I own this property, then the property value is going to go down even more. So I'm trying to keep the value of the home somewhat. I'd like to keep someone in it rather than have a squatter in a winterized home.
I agree.
So,
but that is, I think it was, but the banks didn't take the hit.
No. Yeah.
We took the hit, right? Because
yeah.
you're right. Because the bank is
I was just thinking through, how did this happen?
You're right.
Yeah.
Because
or
you're
why,
right.
Why would they?
Why would they?
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck it. We're not going to, even if we give them that now the house is worth $200,000 now, well, the government's going to make up the difference for us anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So, and that's why we hit inflation. And look how hard you work and you're successful, right? But in the state that you live in, can you afford like a beautiful, gorgeous house?
Oh, no. I mean, a 800 square foot home where I live is $1.5 million.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you're an ultra successful person, but it's just that it's like not. Why? Right. That's like crazy.
Yeah.
800 square foot, 1.5 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Cottage.
Right.
Cottage is $1.5 million.
$1.5 million.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go back to your journey. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, okay.
So you went into hard money, you got into private money.
Yeah.
And then tell us about that. Like how you felt, and did you feel rejuvenated? You were like, holy fuck. Like, what did you think?
At first, honestly, it was terrifying.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, I think I made a mistake. I don't know about this.
Right.
And I remember I actually called my brother on my first day at the company that I started working with. It was with Ross, actually.
Right.
Yep. And I called my brother on FaceTime and I went outside and I remember saying, like, I think I fucked up. Like, I think I made a mistake.
Right.
Because it was so different. It was, and I had been at that point. Now I have been in trade for a little minute, and I had been in a corporate space, where you dress like this and everybody is, professional. And not only was it release from Trade and Respa, but also the entire vibe of the office was released from corporate,
Yeah.
like they were there to work. It didn't matter. You show up in sweatpants or you show up in sneakers, like that. The point was not to look like you worked at a bank.
Right.
The point was to fund loans,
Got it.
and so I think it was a culture shock for me also. Because I was working for a really big bank before I came over to that company. And so I remember telling my brother, like, I don't know, I think I might have messed up. And, I was in operations but once I started to learn it, and it was like, you have the freedom to think, you have the ability to use your mind. And also, in that, it's like you're not going to have to go through 5 people to get permission to use your mind.
Right.
Right.
I
was like, this is amazing. Like, I love this. Right. And then these complicated, it's like one of the things that I really love is like untangling a necklace. It's like when you find a necklace, it's all knotted up and you love that necklace. It's like just sitting there and being like, I'm going to get this, and that feeling of success, you actually get that in private money lending. You get to feel that. Yeah.
Right.
You get to solve real like puzzles and feel that feeling of dynamic success because you yourself were able to put something together and then see it through. And then the person on the other side is like, thank you so much. You did it successfully. You did it quickly. You did it efficiently and, with great customer service. And, they're glad.
I think because would you say that private lending is like life? It's not black and white. It's more like everything is in the gray.
100%.
Right.
I mean, occasionally you get like that straight shooter file,
course,
right?
right?
That's like
but for
easy
the most part,
and
75% is
totally
just in the gray, like life.
Yeah, you have to actually look at what's in front of you and pay attention. And each file is different, and each credit situation is different. Each property is different. Each, and that's what keeps you engaged. That's what keeps me excited about work.
Right.
That's why I know that I won't do any other type of work because it's never boring.
Right. And it's not like that anymore, right? Where, like you said, they're putting fucking information in a computer or a program, yes or no.
Yeah. You don't even know what it is that the file is or the borrower is. You don't hear the story.
Right.
You don't know anything about it's just
black and white.
Okay. So the only thing to get excited about on that side is your paycheck. And if you're okay, so if you're motivated by just that, then more power to you.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. You're somebody that clocks in, clocks out, your paycheck is enough to get you excited. And then you're going to take that money and do something else with your life that feeds you and inspires you. Cool. If I'm going to spend the bulk of my living hours doing something, I want that to also feel inspiring. I will use the money I make to do other inspiring things. Work shouldn't be the only thing, right? But if I'm going to spend the bulk of my waking hours doing something, I want it to feed me in some way, feed my brain, teach me,
right?
Like make me grow, make me smarter, use my mind. And the people that I'm around are teaching me, are growing me, are honestly helping me become a better person because it makes you look at things in a different perspective.
It's more gratifying.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, in every way. In every way. You're not just checking in because you want to get paid. You're actually engaged in what you're doing. It's completely different.
And how about the licensing also, right?
Yep. I mean, you don't have to be licensed in most states to do private money lending. So you have like the potential to make a lot more money or to have access to a lot more than you do in the other side of lending, which is awesome.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just less prohibitive across the board.
I agree with you. I think also, like, this is what I like to tell people. It's like, wherever you fall in the political spectrum, right? It doesn't matter. And again, I'm not like anti-police or, abolish the police. I'm not. But what I like to tell people is, it's just so funny that in our business, they instituted this whole fucking NMLS and fucking CFPB and shit like that to police fucking loan officers, right? Where, meanwhile, the actual police don't have any of that. Police officers don't have that shit, but loan officers do. How the fuck does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking
It is
waste.
so complicated and unnecessarily so to become licensed and to stay licensed to originate mortgages.
Don't you think that they should take all of that fucking wasted power and money that they're putting in policing us, right?
Yeah.
Regulating us, fucking use that money to regulate the fucking regular police.
Yeah. I wonder if like the regular consumer really knew how tangled of a web that system
They have
is.
no idea.
They would be outraged.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
And how much money gets
How
wasted.
much money? Yeah. How much personnel? How much
personnel?
taxpayer?
How much taxpayer?
Yeah.
On the whole NMLS situation.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I agree with licensing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
License us.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Well, the state level was fine.
At the state level is
was fine. Yeah.
Right? But to put in that whole policing system of the CFPB and NMLS and all that money just wasted.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're fucking criminals again. Like, ooh, we got this handled. Well, we're going to fucking police those criminals.
Mm-hmm.
We're fucking loan officers. These guys are loan officers. They're giving loans.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they just go in circles anyways.
I
It's
know.
like the national system sends you back to the state licensing.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the time.
It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
It's such a waste, and that's what I like about the private lending also. We just don't have to deal with any of that crap.
Yep.
For the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part, right?
Yep.
44 out of fucking 50 states. We don't have to deal with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a good thing. The money that you're making, are you happy with your success?
I'm so rich.
But let me tell you, I know the investments that you're making. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
A lot of people, don't know. And I think you're fantastic, really.
Thank you.
What you're doing. You're not just preaching, you're actually doing, which is fucking awesome.
Thank you.
She's buying a lot of stuff in Hawaii, and which is like your second home.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully one day it'll be your home.
Yeah.
When the kids are older.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll say this: like, I'm a single mom, right? And there's not many
3 kids, which is fucking hard. I have 3 kids. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you do it, but go on.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's many industries or things that I could be doing that would afford me the ability to take care of myself, to take care of my kids. I don't stress about my bills. I don't, I'm not going like, oh my gosh, do I have enough for the electric bill? And also like, which one am I going to pay this month? I'm not in that position at all. And then on top of that, I have, money to be making investment moves and to be thinking about my kids' future and to be thinking about my future and all of those things. Like, that is incredible. As a single person that lives in Southern California, that has 3 kids, I'm extremely blessed. I mean, I know dual income households that are not anywhere near in that position, that are paycheck to paycheck.
But you're a beast. You really are.
Thank you.
But you work hard too.
I do.
It's not like it comes easy to you, right?
No, I mean, I hustle. You
hustle.
Yeah.
You're a fucking hustler.
Yeah.
And I try to explain that to people, right? It's like this new generation, they want something for nothing and they don't want to work, right? I think you're the perfect example of someone who's really, really brilliant. You really are.
Thanks.
You know your trade really, really well, right? And you hustle like a motherfucker.
Thanks, Steve.
No, really. Like, you are that person that I keep telling people about. Like, it's not all about, hey, you have to work smarter. No, fucking you don't. No. You have to work fucking smarter, but you also have to work hard.
You have to work hard. There's times like I put my kids to bed, and after I put my kids to bed, and then there are like multiple days that I get back on the computer, and I will, if there's work to be done, then I'm back on the computer and I do it. If that means that, I'm back on at 8:00 at night, and then I am going to do that until 1 in the morning, that's what has to be done. It needs to be done.
And I see that. I see you.
Yeah.
So now what the journey was that, so you were with Ross and then there was a little break, right? And then you went, you were with investor funding,
Mm-hmm.
and that was fantastic. And now you have your own business,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
is Apex.
Yeah. Apex funding.
Apex funding,
Mm-hmm.
which you know, I'm so proud of you. You're doing phenomenal with that. You know, and it's such a journey. Honestly, it's so awesome.
Yeah. From junior processor.
From fucking junior processor
Yeah. Who knew nothing.
to boss. Would you say now that you've evolved and you own your own private lending business and you're making the money, how is that going? Like, obviously, we don't want to talk about how much money you're making. I think you're doing great. Do you think that your evolution to owning your own private money business, do you think it's attainable for other people that are in the business, like
Yeah.
real estate professionals?
Yeah, definitely. And there's much less hurdles in the way, right? Than any
Right.
other type of lending. So absolutely, yes. More so
Let's
than
talk
anything
about that.
else.
Someone who wants to go, and we talked about the fucking licensing, but let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's say someone wants to say, fuck it, I want to get into the mortgage business, right? A regular mortgage business.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what they have to do compared to what you have to do as to get into the private money business. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it
right?
really is.
Like, especially in California, let's say, right? Let's talk about that. What's the first thing that they have to do?
Well, you'd start by getting your NMLS license.
And you have to take a course, which takes how long? Like,
oh, God. Off the top of my head, I'd be giving
it's
you
a lot,
random numbers.
no?
So, yeah,
it's
20
like,
hours
yeah,
or
like 20
something.
hours, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah. So you start with your NMLS license, right? And then you have to get your broker's license. So
or become a loan officer even, right?
Right.
And to learn.
If you did that, then you hang under someone else's.
Right.
So then you're just an originator.
Yeah, you're an originator.
But if you want to go off on your own, then you got to get your broker's license.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all of these things then cost money too. So it's not just the coursework time.
Yeah.
You're paying for courses and continuing education, but then you're also paying for the privilege of taking a test.
Right.
So, and you could fail that test and the time involved and then, waiting, and then you get those licenses. Then you have to associate all those licenses.
Yep.
So originally, when I was trying to go down that road, I had 2 different NMLS licenses because I had to sponsor myself.
It's crazy.
How does that make any sense?
It's so sick. It's so crazy.
And then I had to pay NMLS to sponsor myself.
Because it's a fucking money grab.
Yeah. So you go through this whole process of like endorsements and, sponsorships and yada, 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 right? And then at the end of the day, maybe you're just brokering. Maybe through all of that, you're still not a lender. You're just able to then broker a loan under someone else's name. So you can now submit it to another lender and then
how many people are fighting for that same deal?
Exactly. And then as soon as they see that lender's name, you've gotten one, but now they're going to go direct next time. And they're cutting you out. So you've done all that work, but they've seen that lender's name, and that's the end of it.
It's done.
Yeah.
And you're only licensed in one fucking state.
Yeah. Well, and there was like a major thing, brawl, the brokers rallying against wholesale lenders, which was when you take that loan to that wholesale lender to broker it, are they then going to solicit your borrower?
Of course they are.
Right?
Yep.
After when that interest rate goes down or so many months have gone by, now they have your borrower's information. Are they calling them to try to get the refi directly?
I'll give you even something better. Now, let's say you become a lender.
Mm-hmm.
You take the loan, you sell it to PennyMac. Are you ever getting that loan back?
Yeah. Right.
Never.
Yeah.
So now you even took the fucking risk, right, as a banker to bank that loan to sell it to PennyMac.
Right. And they're still going to solicit that borrower.
And what's the thank you that PennyMac gives you? As soon as the rates drop of 1%, do you think PennyMac is calling you up and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe you should call your borrower again. No, fuck you.
They're calling them.
Hi, this is PennyMac. We own your loan. Guess what? Fuck that lender that's going to call you, that originated, that sold it to us.
Yeah.
Here you go. We're going to give you something that the lender is never going to be able to fucking match.
Yep.
And that's.
But in brokering, I feel like you're in the worst position.
Worse. Now you're a fucking.
You're nothing.
You're a dog.
Yeah, they don't care about you at all.
Yeah, you're just like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but you've done all that work to get there.
Yeah,
you've paid all this money and all this licensing.
To help originate it.
And you still signed EPD agreements.
Yep.
You're still, even as a broker, you've still signed an agreement that says that if there's an early payment default, that you'll buy a loan back, which is insane.
Insane.
Right?
Insanity. It's completely insane.
You can go that route.
Right. You can go that route. Or you could become a private
money lender.
Right?
Yep.
Where, you're going to you're closing the loans After a while, you get to close the loans in your own name.
Mm-hmm.
You control everything that happens.
Right.
They're grateful. You don't have that much competition, although
Right.
people think you do, but you really don't.
No, you really don't.
You get to help people that really need fucking help,
Well,
right?
and it's about
Yep.
relationships. That's the thing, is I think is in the other side of lending, it's about interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
What's the rate? What's the rate? What's the rate? What's the rate? That's all anybody cares about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about who you are. You mean nothing. It's what's the
nothing.
rate? And they'll leave you for an eighth.
Yep. An eighth.
An eighth. They don't care. You could be almost to funding and they'll drop you for an eighth and
Which
go pull the file and
I
take
agree.
it somewhere else.
For a fucking eighth.
Yep.
For an eighth.
In private money lending, it's about the relationship because they know that you're going to get the loan done. They trust you.
Yeah.
They're in some kind of time constraint almost always, right? They
Yeah.
need to get the purchase done now. They need to get construction funds now. They need the bridge funds to do rehab on an exiting whatever now.
Mm-hmm.
And they trust that you're going to get it done. You already have a file built for them because you've done 6 loans already. And you're like a concierge to their financial life. You're more than just a lender.
It's true.
And so they don't care if somebody else comes to them and say, oh, I could beat that by 0.25%. They're like,
Yeah.
I've got my guy.
I got my guy.
Thanks.
Yep.
I'm good.
I could
She's
close
going to
fast.
fund it.
Yeah, she's going to fund
She
it.
said it funds Friday, and I know
Yep,
it will.
I know it's going to fund. Yep.
So there's no chance that I am pulling this to somebody that calls me, cold call, and says like, oh, well, they're doing a 7 and a whatever. I'll do a boop boop. Like they're solid.
Yep. I agree with you.
So you're not fighting for
you build a book of clients.
And they're solid. You're not, and on that sales side of things, that can really wear a person down when you're losing business over rate that you can't control.
Who are you losing it on? Someone with a fucking, I tell people, I'm like, the motherfucker has a 580 FICO score. They don't deserve a fucking loaf of bread. And they're getting a house and they're arguing with you over a fucking eighth.
Yeah.
You'll be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You motherfucker. You don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
You're the one that's beating me up over a fucking eighth?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you just don't see that on this side of things.
You don't.
So.
Listen, sometimes we lose money over leverage, and I get that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this guy, because why? Real estate investors are always short cash.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's the life, right? But like you said, it's like you're gonna make that deal, you're one and done. That you're never gonna get that back on the regular side. You just won't. You're never gonna get it. Between the competition and the person you sold the loan to or you brokered the loan through, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
You're just done. You're never getting that back. On the private lending side, on the other hand, you're building a book that's recurring. And these people, they're always buying homes and they're always making investments. It's a big difference.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is when you think about like what we just discussed, that you can lose someone over the tiniest change of interest rate, which is often out of your control.
Yep.
The way that a conventional loan officer is often paid is through LPC. It's lender paid comp, right? Lender paid comp is accomplished by raising the interest rate. So you're in this position of being extremely underpaid to stay competitive. You're in a rock and a hard place all the time. So either on that side of lending, either you're charging points up front, so you're disclosing it and saying, hey, I'm charging you this money and this is what it is. And they're going dollar to the other guy and saying, she's charging me 1 point, he's charging me half a point, I'm going this way, right? And then that's it. They're going with the guy that's charging less. Or optically, you're going with lender paid comp, which is the lender is going to compensate you instead of you charging upfront points, but that's accomplished by raising the interest rate. And again, now you can lose that person over just 1/8.
I agree.
So how skinny can you get to save a deal? How little money are you willing to make either on upfront points by borrower paid comp or back end points on lender paid compensation versus, again, on the other side of things, everybody's pretty much charging the same thing. People know what they're going to be paying. They know that there's going to be upfront points involved. We're not arguing over that, right? So it is what it is. This is what it's going to cost you to accomplish this deal. This is the rate. We will get it done. Cool. Fund it. Let's go.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think people who get into the mortgage business and they haven't evolved, right? It's just because they're just either lazy or not smart enough to be able to see the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the same experience. It's on the mortgage broker side, on the regular side, it's, well, I'm going to take it to UWM, which everybody else does.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm going to take it to Rocket.
Right.
And guess what? Your borrower is going to get the same experience, right?
Yeah. You have
Now
no
it's a matter
control
of
over the experience.
correct. Now it's a matter of, well, how am I going to earn that business? And it's a matter of, well, it's a price war now.
Yeah.
For the same experience.
Yeah. Your only hope then is that you do enough volume that you've been price incentivized by that lender
correct.
to beat out your competition.
Right. And it's so,
which the only way you're getting that volume is that you've undercut your own pricing so much that you've gotten that much business. Yep. So then how much is your time worth?
Yep. How much is your time worth?
You've decided that your hourly is what, $10 an hour?
And again, you're one and done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because they're going to solicit your borrower.
100%.
Especially Rocket.
Even if they don't solicit it, you know what? Your competition is going to solicit. Yeah. And they're going to cut your fucking throat.
Every time you pull the credit.
Every time.
Yeah.
Bang. Oh, trigger leads. I'm willing to do it for $500 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Where in our business, in the private lending business, like you said, it's more relationship based, like it should be.
Yep.
And they're not cutting your throat. They can try. They can say, hey, this guy told me. You're going to say, come on, man, for an eighth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or he's not going to close you.
He's not going to close you.
Yeah.
It's sure as shit. When Jacalyn tells you, I'm closing on Friday, guess what's happening?
Yeah.
I'm closing you on fucking Friday. Mm-hmm. And they know that.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, the scariest thing in moving into becoming a lender was moving out of guaranteed pay. Right. Letting go of the salary, because I was like fully ops, right? Like running operations, AVP of ops. Like I've been an ops girl. Yeah. That's my thing. Yeah. And so I think the scariest thing was to say that I know that moving into like my pay is going to be reflective of the production that I do. And it's going to be okay when I do that. Was probably the scariest thing. And it's the smartest decision that I've ever made.
It's the best thing.
By far.
Yeah.
So,
because now
that's what held me back from doing it for so long. Because it was like, I need to make sure I can pay my bills. And, God forbid something happens. It's not worth the risk. What if there was just one bad month? There has not been one bad month. Not one. A bad month is still better than my regular pay, which was obviously I'd been in it for so long, at 22 years in mortgage, my salary was pretty good. I'd earned it.
Deservingly so.
Yeah, I'd earned it.
But so, no, not just us. The thing is, nobody was going to pay you what you're really worth.
No. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to take the risk on yourself.
Right. You
can't really earn what you're worth until you're willing to risk it on yourself. Right. That's how it is.
And now you're really earning what you're worth, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Because no business can afford
to
pay you what you're worth.
No. Yeah.
And it's not in the reflection of what you're worth.
No. It's just about economics.
Economics.
Regular economics.
Yeah. You could get the top end of what that pay is, but it's still not what you're worth.
Yeah. If you're an employee, there's always going to be a range. There's a top end of a range because the business has to operate.
Right. Business has to operate.
The only way to break that top end range is to take the risk on yourself.
Right. So congratulations. I think, the good thing is what we're looking to do in our venture together again, which I'm so happy in Ross, is now put this course together so other people, whether they're single moms or single dads or fucking struggling, or they've been in the mortgage business for such a long time and they're like just tapped out.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to have that financial freedom to be able to do what you've really been able to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about that.
I am too.
I'm
really
excited.
Am.
It's like,
I'm a huge nerd for this stuff.
I know. Excited. You're a massive nerd and I love it. And I think like, a lot of people are like, well, why would you want to get into the education business or the coaching? And I tell them, I started coaching in football for the first time this year. Mm-hmm. And just the gratification I got to make a bunch of kids better.
Yeah.
Right? It was so awesome. And I can't wait to provide that to some grown-ups.
Yeah.
You know? right?
I know.
To
You're
say,
gonna make me
hey,
get emotional. It's
no,
like I don't want to be cheesy
uh,
about it, but I do kind of feel a little bit like the poster child. Like
yep.
I do not have a college degree,
hmm
right? I am a single mom.
Which the funny thing is, you don't have a college degree, but meanwhile, it does not reflect how fucking brilliant of a
It
person you
doesn't
are.
matter. Yeah,
No,
it makes no difference whatsoever. It's not in any way held me back.
nope.
I am a single mom, like I
Yep.
mentioned,
Yep.
right? It's like I've been working and grinding and doing this.
Yep.
And it's like, this is like, I feel like an infomercial, but it literally has changed my life. Like,
Yep.
there's no,
But you are the infomercial.
yeah,
You
like
are it.
it's like it
You're
would be
you're
amazing to know that somebody else that's thinking like I am just doing this grind and this is what my life is going to be. I have
yeah.
all these things that are holding me back that are going to make it impossible for my life to ever get to this point. I'm not going to be able to give my kids, you know, paid for college. I'm not going to be able to tell them like I'm going to buy your house when you get married. I'm
Mhm.
not going to my family's not that family that
Right.
does those things.
Right.
Like guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
you
maybe
can.
you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Maybe you are.
Maybe you
Yeah.
are. You know, like I never would have said those things about myself. If anything, I was just very, 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 very grateful to be in a position to pay my bills.
Right. And you didn't deserve that. You
So
deserve so much more. Like, think about it. I mean, how many properties do you own right now in Hawaii?
I have 3 in Hawaii and 1 in San Diego.
That's fucking awesome. You didn't have that when you were working with us,
No, no, you got to take the risk.
right? Like, that's fucking crazy. You have 3. What's your goal? I think you're going to end up with like 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to keep going.
You're going to keep going
Yeah.
because you can.
I'm going to spread into other states.
Yeah.
So,
It's so fantastic. I think like you hit on it, man. Really. It's just you are that person, man. You are really. It's like, it's great. I love it. I love it. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted you to be a part of the course is you're the real life fucking person we're going after. Isn't that fucking great? To me, it's fucking fantastic. You want to know why it's great? Because she's actually genuinely looking to help people. Like, that is fucking awesome. I think my biggest gripe with people that do courses is that they're only doing courses to become successful themselves. Right? And there's so many people that we know that do that. They never went through the fucking process that you've gone through.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like they only want to do the course for self-gratification. And then they put out some piece of shit that they don't really give a fuck about.
Yeah.
And it's all about dollar cents. Well, how many courses do we sell? And I think, the care that we're putting into it and the reason that we're doing it is so different. And I really believe that karma is going to move forward
Yeah.
and make the course just that much more special.
You're really getting me. Yeah.
Well, don't
No,
you,
it's real. I wouldn't be where I am also for the mentors that have been in my life.
Right.
100%. And the opportunities that I've had given to me, right?
And you want to do that to somebody, right? You want that.
You have to do that.
Yes.
You have to pass
Pay
it forward.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes.
And there are people in my life, and you're one of them for sure.
Thank you.
That they come into your life and it's like you are given this person that just wants to pour into you, wants to open doors for you for no reason beyond that they're paying it forward.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to do that on a much bigger
Larger
scale.
Yeah.
And I can name 5 people right now that I will always be so grateful for, starting from the first person who hired me at 17 when I knew nothing, right? I can start from that very beginning of my story. That person who was like, come on in and start here. Like that's the beginning of that person that said,
me too.
Yeah. Like what is a mortgagee clause? Mm-hmm. What is it? Who poured into me, who started to teach me, who invested in me in that way. Right. So if I can do that now for somebody and it starts the ball moving wherever they are in their journey, if they're brand new or if it's the kick in the butt that they needed, like I did, to say like, take the risk on you because you're never going to get to that next place until you do that. Whatever phase they're in, like I have to do that because that's part of it.
Yeah.
I've had that my whole career and this is all I've ever done.
Yeah.
And without that, I wouldn't be anywhere.
I love that. I love that you're saying that. I love that because I feel the same. There's when we were at M Bank, there were these like 5 kids that we hired just for that purpose. And today, do you know that they still call me?
Yeah.
They still call me
Yeah.
on a weekly basis, just either ask me questions or sometimes I'll get a call and say, hi.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I just want to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fulfilling to me.
Yeah. That
And
boss I was telling you
don't
about, my
people
first
don't
boss.
understand that.
Yep.
Like for me, it's like, and it's like, do I make $1 off these kids? Nothing. I don't make a penny.
No.
But the fact that it's like, I know I changed their lives
Yep.
and they're so successful.
Yep.
Like people don't understand. That makes me so happy.
Yeah. We
Or
call
the
them
fact that
loan babies.
Yes.
Yeah. They're
or
loan
the fact that they
babies.
still pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Just to say, can you guide me on this?
Yeah.
For me, it's like, fuck yeah, I can.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely, I can.
Yeah.
And thank you for thinking of me
Yeah.
as that person. Or to say, so many people are like, 2 people, and they know, and I'll bring them onto the show where they didn't have that father figure.
Yeah.
And for them to be like, Steve, you are that father figure for me, at least in a business basis, and thank you. Like, I'll get a call on my birthday. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? Hey, happy birthday. I love you. And like,
well, our industry has its problems, like trade being one of them.
yeah.
But I will say, I do think it's one of the few ones that are left that really does still have that, like, come under my wing.
Yes.
Like, I've got you. You don't know what you're doing, and I will teach you what I know for no reason other than I want you to come up and I want you to have what someone else did for me.
Correct.
Like, that lives strong.
Yeah.
Like, I got that. You got that.
Yeah.
And then we do that whenever we can.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. So this
I
is
agree.
like,
Yeah,
how
this is
cool that we
How
get
cool.
to do that. We have the internet now. We've got social media.
How fucking cool.
And we get to do that for people that maybe we don't get to meet them and have, call them on their birthdays and say hello or know them face to face necessarily.
But this is just the next best thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We get to do it on a wider reach. So it's important. That's part of the culture.
It's part of the culture. I agree with you. But look at you. It's like, even the people that work for you now, right?
Yep.
How much knowledge have you bestowed upon them?
Yeah. I mean, and like, so my main person had never worked in mortgage before, and those are decisions that I make too, thinking of my own story.
Yep.
That's like, I could hire somebody that has all the experience and say like, that's much easier on me. Right. Like,
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I know personally, I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Of how much you've poured into her.
Yeah.
And how selflessly you left without her.
Yeah.
And how when it was her time to transition, you were like, you first said to me, I remember, hey, you're making a mistake. Don't let her go.
Yeah.
And you remember the conversation I had with you? I said, I'm making a mistake. Capitalize on the mistake. Hire her. And that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And did it not work out perfect?
Yep.
Like she is your person. But you completely changed her life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I had been training her when she first came on and she didn't know anything.
She knew nothing.
She's my lone baby.
She's your lone baby. One of them.
Yeah.
But she's look how, she's a fucking beast.
Yeah. She's amazing.
For you.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah. But God forbid, now what happens? Anne could take that knowledge and go anywhere.
Yeah. She's very highly qualified now.
She's highly qualified. How gratifying is that for you?
I have a lot. It sounds kind of boisterous to say this, but I have a lot of those.
Yep.
I have a lot of people that I can say like knew nothing and I taught them and now they have job skills. They have real life job skills that will guarantee them at least a certain base pay. If they go further than that, that's up to them from wherever, our relationship ended or not. But at the very minimum, I know that they will be able to make X amount of money. Whereas before they didn't. I have a lot of those. And I'm glad, like, that's important to me because I was that for someone else.
Yeah.
Someone else gave that to me and said, I'm going to give you this knowledge. I'm going to spend time with you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to, pour into you.
I want to tell you something. Not that for anything where I think I'm the greatest or anything like that. I do. Because I have a fucking major ego myself. Right? But it's very important for you to know that you're one of the very few people that I respect their opinion on something.
Oh.
In the mortgage business. And that is very has nothing to do with ego, really, to be honest. It has to do with, I don't find too many people in the mortgage business that I respect their knowledge. And I really respect your knowledge, Fool.
Thank
I
you.
really, really do. I think you're, one of the very few industry people that's so gifted. You really are. I don't even think that you even understand how gifted you are.
Thank you.
No, really. I mean, if you really even understood how gifted you are, I you'd be shocked. No, really. You know so much. You have so much fucking knowledge on so much different shit. It's mind-boggling to me.
Well, that's
Like you are that person. Like you're the person that could. It's awesome because you could originate a loan, process it, underwrite it, fucking fund it, close it, ship it,
sell
like
it.
you got and sell it. Like you got the whole fucking process down. Like warehouse it, ship it. Fuck.
Yep.
If they told you, hey, here it is,
One man show.
one man show.
Yep.
Like you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. This is not too many of you. It's not. You're a fucking unicorn.
Thank you.
And you understand. How about this? You could even fucking get the whole escrow part down too. You'd be like, I could escrow it, I could fucking do the title and do everything on that side, which is fucking amazing.
Well, and I will say, like, part of that is the access that private lending gives you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because there's no other, you couldn't do that on the other side.
No.
Right? You'd have so much red tape.
You couldn't do it and you don't want to do it.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want
for
to.
sure.
You wouldn't want
but
to.
even if you did want to,
right.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
So being able to learn, being able to ask questions and be like, how do you, where do you, can I get in here?
Yeah.
Can you let me, let me in. I want to know. I want to learn.
But there's one thing, like, it's almost like like people in sports, right? What people don't understand about professional athletes, and I'll equate you to a professional athlete, is that one thing is desire, which desire could come in two things. It could come from necessity also, right? And people don't understand that, right? They don't get that, well, this guy has desire. Well, that motherfucker grew up in the ghetto. He had no fucking choice but to have desire. Because these are his choices. It's either I have fucking desire, which is forced upon me out of necessity, or I go back to the ghetto and get killed.
Right.
Right? And part of it is you have 3 kids, you're single. So that desire, whether you want it or not, right?
Yeah.
Not taking away from it, because a lot of people could say fuck it and just live on fucking welfare and just be a statistic, right? So as a professional athlete, you have that desire, right? The second thing is, like, you have a love for the game.
Yeah, I really do.
Right? You do. Like you say, you're a nerd.
Yeah.
But you are.
I really do.
But you have a love for the game. It's like, you could be a professional athlete, right? Let's equate you to that. Yeah. So you got the desire. You have a love for the game, which is very important. Very important. Because you could be gifted as fuck. But if you don't like the sport you're playing, you're fucked. You could do it, but you're going to be miserable as fuck every day. But you have the love for the game, right? The other thing is, which is very important, and people don't understand, is that you're extremely coachable. Which comes from having no ego.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. That's
where you're
really
like,
important.
so many times you've told me, like, well, I just want to learn this fucking thing. And if you could teach me, or if anyone could teach me, I'm going to learn it.
Yeah. It's so important to not.
It's so important.
Let yourself get in your own way.
Correct.
Yeah. Asking questions.
And
correct. Yeah.
And you're so coachable, where that's also what makes a really good fucking athlete. It's this fucking guy comes out. He's got raw talent. He knows it, right? But he goes into practice learning from his coaches that aren't superior physically, but are superior in terms of knowledge. And he's learning that shit. Yeah. So you're like Derek Jeter of the mortgage business, of the private money business.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think? No?
It's a good comparison.
It's a good comparison.
It is.
And so fucking, that's it, man. You're like, I'm sorry I'm calling you a man. No, female athletes. Who do we know?
Serena.
No.
Williams.
Serena is a tennis player. It's a little different. I think like in the team.
I'm good with Derek Jeter. That works. I
Well,
like
you're a
it. Thank
Derek-
you. I'm
Derek
flattered.
Cat. You're a Derek Cat Jeter. You know? And that's it, you know? Because in tennis, it's like just one person. In the mortgage business, you can't make it with one person, you know?
Yeah. I think it's like, I definitely agree with you with the part of not like the desire to know and learn and grow and become has to be so much bigger than any fear of looking stupid or, that ego involvement.
but you don't care.
Or, no, not
You
at
really
all.
don't care.
No, not at all. Nope.
You have zero, nothing.
No.
Like you don't care.
No, because it's going to get in the way of me getting to whatever the next thing is. It's
Right.
like, if I want to know what the next thing is, then I need to ask
Yeah.
and find the person who knows.
Right.
Right. So
Which is
if
great.
I'm the thing that's slowing me down because I'm worried about what that makes me look
Yeah.
like, or someone's going to go, she doesn't already know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
then I just wasted those minutes. Like, I'm trying to get somewhere.
Well, now here comes the athleticism. Right? This is why I say it's like athlete. Now, a good athlete, you only have to teach once or twice. And that's you.
Mm.
Right? You're going to pick it up on the first try. Whatever it is that they're teaching you. That's what makes you special. Or it's, hold on, give it to me the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then now there's no way you're not going to pick it up after the second time.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you you,
Thank you.
which is phenomenal, Derek.
I love it. Thank you.
Well, we're good. It's my privilege to have Jacalyn on. Thank you for making the journey to come all the way from California.
Thank you
We
for
dragged
having
to
me.
Fucking Tennessee, of both places. It's a great state of Tennessee. And looking forward to what we're about to shoot. This was episode 8 of Game of Loans. Wait for our product. It's coming out soon. All right. See you later. You've been listening to the Game of Loans, where real estate battles are fought and won. Make sure to fortify your defenses by subscribing. Cash flow is coming, and we'll be back next time to help you claim your throne. The war of wealth continues.